diehard evolutionists and all Earth creationists starting to use the quote-unquote Varves argument against a global flood. But what I want to do to set the scene for this, I'm going to share some images. Some of them you'll recognize so that we can dispel this Varves issue. I'm just going to share. Okay, can you see that first image?
Yep.
That's Mount St. Helens. So people, you'll notice that thick layer of Varves. Varves is just small sedimentation layers that occurred in 3 hours. You can see more detail, and you can see the scale. I think right at the bottom left-hand corner of that grey picture, there's a man there for scale. So it's a thick layer of Varves, and you can see a close-up of it just there. Now this one's at the Lake Shigitsu in Japan. You'll notice there are 2 cores there, and specifically you'll notice the count of the Varves between the ash layers is different. And John, you'll recognize this one because this is from your demonstration or presentation you did last Saturday morning.
Yeah, that's some of the research we did in Iceland on climate.
Well, leaves don't last very long at the bottom of the lake. I'm a scuba diver, and I've been scuba diving in some of these waters, and that leaf would break down into thousands of smaller pieces. And I know when you're moving through the water, you disturb that stuff and it becomes very dark, and you lose orientation. But here's another one that sort of dispels that. I think Joseph Hubbard put me onto this. Any dead creature in water, there's a bacteria known as, what is it? I think it's called Pithithora. Help me out. Saprolegnia and Phytophora. Okay. What happens there is that bacteria will eat away these dead things in less than a year. So how can they be fossilized if those Varve layers are actually, yearly counts? You can't. The creature will be completely eaten away by that bacteria. So you can take the floor now, John, and add your comments to what I've just described.
Okay, well, I just happen to have a rock full of Varves here. Now I'll hold it up. Can you see the lines along this edge?
Yes, yeah.
The rock has started to peel apart along the Varves. On this side where we cut it, it hasn't, so you can actually see. Can you see the Varves there, the black and white layer?
Yep.
Now, this is a beautifully preserved leaf on the surface, and it's the same problem that you created. If you're scuba diving, you scoop it up. But from this layer itself, I've not only got leaves, I've got shells. I even one year got a big blob of crocodile poo and crocodile vomit, right? Now, I don't know about you, but when an animal vomits, it tends to disperse through the whole of the water environment. So either you're burying the crocodile so fast, you're pushing its guts out, and that's what's given rise to some of our fish. And even that gets buried in Varves. So the one thing you know is the crocodile wasn't vomiting there for 18 months, right?
Yeah.
Right? It just doesn't work like that. So the presence of Varves tells you that the normal habit in geology is to stretch time, not to deal with process. Now, some of you have been to our creationresearch.net website. Go and have a look at our strata machine and have a look at the results we produce in 20 minutes, sometimes only in 5 minutes. The water itself produces the layers. They're already in the actual water. It was a real shock to me when I got the results from our strata machine, and I contacted a water engineer, and I said, well, where are the layers coming from? And he said, everybody who's a water engineer knows the water's already got the layers in. It's bringing the material already sorted. It's not coming in and laying one on top of the other like the long-term evolutionists, millions of years, and sadly, the local flood person who cows to the god of science and evolutionism actually wants. The real mechanism of producing layers you can see both in the rivers, in the floods, and you can do the experiment. Go to creationresearch.net, have a look at our strata machine experiment. I think there's 11 experiments there where you can watch them actually growing sideways, not one on top of the other. So, George, we're being conned again. Very few people even get the chance to do the experiments. I'm grateful to the Lord. He's not only given us the money, but given us the time. Read the results. They'll be a real blessing to you. And whatever the Bible says, first rule, if it doesn't look as if it's meant to be anything but literal, take it literal.
Is the Green River Formation a problem for young Earth? Because a lot of, as I said, a lot of old Earth creationists and evolutionists are beginning to use the Green River Formation as an issue for young Earth.
Well, it's no issue. It's just that the quarry charges too much to let you in to dig up the rocks. But in reality, I've used it for years. There's a special layer there, the 18-inch or the half-meter layer, which has got up to 40,000 varves in it. And I've got a huge number of pieces. In fact, since you brought up the Green River Formation, I'll show you something very interesting. Can you all spot that fossil? That's our famous high pine. But you see where my finger is up there? There's a little... Okay, now that fish, this is an Australian rock. The place is off limits now, so you've either got to get it from old collectors or old collections. I qualify as both, by the way. You'll find that we have fossil fishes there, which are the same as in the Green River Formation. Now, what you'll find is there's no such thing as an indigenous sort of fish. There's no such thing as the evolution unless you count changing the names in a book as evolution. We have Green River fishes here. They have our Australian herrings in the Green River Formation over there, both of which were buried very quickly. And some of the ones I have cover multiple varves, right? You don't get the varves up, rising up and over. They're actually embedded in the varves. So the varves were there very, very quickly. And this 18-inch layer, if you wanted to say each varve represents 6 months, dark light, then it took you tens of thousands of years for some of the big fishes to get buried. And when you get that ridiculous, it's time you took up pottery.
Yeah, correct. As I mentioned, that bacteria would have eaten that fish away a long time before it would have got a chance to be buried.
Yeah, that's true.
I hope you enjoyed this video. Please make sure to hit that like button. It really does help. And subscribe if you enjoyed the content and want to see more, and find more of us on our main channel on Team Standing for Truth. This is Matt Man. Until next time.